More than 50 all-black towns were founded in Oklahoma between the end of the Civil War and 1920. But only 13 remain today. Tonight, Oklahoma Center for the Humanities is unveiling a new exhibit at the Henry Zarrow Center for Arts and Education that highlights the history from all black towns. This afternoon, the center's director, Sean Latham, is here with us to talk more about the exhibit. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon.
Of course, it's a pleasure.
So let's talk about the exhibit. What is featured and what can people expect when they come to see it?
Well, we're really excited to be able to tell the story or open a space for the story of these towns to be told. They form a really integral part of Oklahoma's history that predates statehood, and so they can come and learn something both about the history of these towns, about the ways in which these became beacons of freedom really after the Civil War for black people both in Oklahoma and from throughout the South who were trying to find a way to freedom, and help people understand that these towns are still lively, active cultural places. They're not just historical artifacts, but real communities and real places that have really exciting things going on.
And have amazing stories to tell,
absolutely.
Too. What do you hope people walk away with after coming to see the exhibit?
Well, I hope they'll be able to add to their understanding of Oklahoma's history. When we think about people coming to Oklahoma, we think about the Trail of Tears, we certainly think about the land rush, but this was another important part of settling Oklahoma, was really thinking about the state, as I said, as a kind of beacon to black freedom, so that these towns became places for entrepreneurs, places for schools, places for businesses to start, places for farms to start that were safe, that were mutually supportive. We don't talk about that part of Oklahoma becoming a state, and I really want people to capture that piece of Oklahoma history as well.
In relation to other parts of the country, Oklahoma is relatively newer and to statehood, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a ton of rich history still in our state. And of course, the all-black towns are included in that. They represent, like you said, so many things, one of those being freedom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for that community. Finally, what other projects are y'all working on? What else are you excited about?
Well, throughout the year, we're actually focusing on the topic of freedom. So as we tell the story of black towns, we're really talking about freedom as a concept, and we want to tell this piece of it in terms of Oklahoma's history, but we want to think about freedom in all the different ways that this term means different things to different people, becomes a source of often violent conflict. It is January 6th, after all. We remember 2 years ago, two groups of people that believed in freedom were violently attacking one another. So we'll be hosting events that are both about January 6th with a talk called Ugly Freedom and what it means when our understanding of freedom runs up against someone else's. And we're also going to be doing a 3-day focus on Ukraine and Russia. So we'll be bringing in a Russian writer who went into exile after Russia invaded Ukraine, as well as some Ukrainian poets and musicians who are going to be talking about that conflict, and I hope helping Oklahoma understand better what that conflict is about and what the stakes are there.
I love that y'all are having conversations about things that perhaps people like to tiptoe around, but you're diving headfirst into that. Why is that important?
Well, that's what universities are for. We want to have a place where we can have civil but complex conversations where we can disagree with one another, perhaps over fundamental values, but do it in a way that seems civil and that seems informed. And that's really our goal, is to help inform people both about history in Oklahoma, but also about all the different ways, as I said, we might define something like freedom, and that there's not like an obvious solution. The solution is for us to have conversations and remain engaged with one another.
I love that. Well, if anybody would like to come see the exhibit, how long do they have to do that? Who, what, when, where?
So it opens tonight on First Friday, so we'll be open from 6 to 9 tonight. We'll have music and all kinds of other things going on tonight. And the center is open from noon to 5 on Wednesday through Saturday, and we're also going to open on Martin Luther King Day. We're sort of right at the end of the parade route, so we'll have coffee and hot chocolate and cookies. So people can come in, march in the parade, and also learn something more about Oklahoma's black history.
Awesome. Well, Sean, thank you so much for your time this afternoon and coming over here to talk to us.
Great. It was a pleasure.
Coop, send it back to you.